Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and honor unto Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai Bahasham Lakar. Double honors to the apostles and elders, the great most honorable well, and lead the flock by example. And shalom to the elect of Yahweh Shai, the elect of Israel. Okay, and pretty much, I want to go into this lesson on America and Russia, mainly touching on Russia and their role in end time prophecy. Okay, because Russia is in the scriptures, so is America, and I'm going to go into that. Just reading a couple articles, and then just sparked me to go into this lesson. So without further ado, let me get into it. Right, it says, and this is the Eritrean president Afwerki speaking about it. And Russia's had a lot of push, and China in the continent of Africa. Right, you recently had a coup in Niger. All right, and you got the Western countries trying to come up against it. Basically, man, the two superpowers upon the earth are using what they call proxy wars to come at each other. Okay, Russia and America, right, which they heavily are spoken of in end time prophecy. We're going to get into that. Right, so it says 30 years back, Russia, let's start from this bit. Eritrean President Isaias Afwerki claimed that decades ago, Western powers, when he says Western powers, really he's talking about America and the EU nations. Okay, basically the beast, NATO, okay, and EU, says not only attempted to contain Russia, but also declared war on everybody who threatened their worldview, while speaking during an interview on the sidelines of the Russia-African Summit in St. Petersburg on Saturday. 30 years back, Russia was their hegemonic power's main threat in their own perspective, hegemony. So they talking about, basically talking about the West. So they contain Russia. I say now in retrospect, that was a declaration of war. They declared war on everybody. It was not only containing Russia, but dominating the whole world. They classified every region as an influenced land or area of their influence, and that's pretty much what's happened. Okay, but see, according to prophecy, Russia, the bear, was going to be, put back into that warlike state. After the collapse of the Soviet Union, come back into that USSR mentality and come against Russia again, and that's what's going to happen. Let's get that in Revelation. Let's get Revelation. Bear with me. Yep, this is Revelation 13:2. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. Okay, and the dragon gave him his power, and his seat, and great authority. Alright, and when you go into it, pretty much, the leopard is talking about Alexander. Okay, in Revelation 13. It goes into the 7 heads and the 10 horns, which ultimately, that makes up the beast today, EU and NATO. Okay. Now it says, the main point I want to get here, it says, and his feet were as the feet of a bear. Okay, because the bear represents Russia. Russia is going to have a great hand. It says the feet. Russia is going to have a great hand. Okay, in taking the system down. Okay. All right, they're going to be coming up against with their missiles. Okay, they've been coming against, America and its allies, man, and even America's own allies are going to come up against America. So there's going to be a World War III, if you will, man. All right, Israel's going to get hit. America's going to be the main place getting hit, which is Babylon the Great in the scriptures. And we're going to see in the scriptures about that. All right. But World War III is in the scriptures. Let's quickly get Revelation 11 and 14, right? And it says, the second war was past, and behold, the third war cometh quickly. So the second war is talking about World War II, okay, and the third war is talking about World War III. Now, after World War III, there ain't going to be no more wars, because pursuant to Isaiah the 2nd chapter, let's get that, right? Let's read that, Isaiah chapter 2 verse 2. And it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of the Lord's house, and the point is that there's going to be no more war once the Lord establishes Israel on top, all right, the kingdom of heaven. It says, and it shall come to pass in the last days, which we're in the last days now, that the mountain of the Lord's house shall be established in the top of the mountain. So what's that talking about? What's that talking about? When you think about a mountain, you just think of like, you go to the countryside where you see a mountain. Now, what's that talking about? It's talking about governments. Okay, that's why even to this day, well, let me prove that. Let's type in this summit meeting. A summit, a meeting, right? A summit meeting, or just summit, is an international meeting of heads of state or government, right? Usually with considerable media exposure, tight security, and a prearranged agenda. Notable meetings include those of Franklin D. Roosevelt, Winston Churchill, and Joseph Stalin during World War II. Okay. Now, let's see what else a summit means, right? So let's go all these different summits. Okay, so what? Meeting of government, right? Right, mountain summit. What is the summit of a mountain called? The top of a mountain is called its peak. It's called a summit. So a mountain climb is called getting to the top, summit. And so what's the top? What's the top of something? It's the governing body that governs these mountains, which are these governments, right? Let's keep reading. Okay, that the mountain of the Lord's house shall be established on the top of the mountain, the tabernacles of David. Okay, on down, the Lord's elect, on down to Israel being in power, and shall be exalted above the hills, and all nations shall flow unto it. And many people shall go and say, come ye, let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, to the house of the God of Jacob, and he will teach us of his ways, and will walk in his paths. For out of Zion shall go forth the law, and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. Because we're going to exact the law upon the earth, man. Okay, as kings and priests. Okay, so if you got heathen nations going against breaking the law, they're going to have to get punished for that. Now Israel are going to keep the law perfect. It's going to be put on our inward parts, pursuant to Hebrews the 8th chapter. Okay, you can read it there. All right, the new covenant, where we're going to be changed, and the laws are going to be put on our inward parts. Now, he said he'll teach us of his ways and walk in his paths. When we look at how the world is run today, it's unrighteousness, wickedness. Why? Because the wicked are in rulership, starting with the elite of the nation of Edom. Okay, to name a few families that are ruling, like the Rothschild family, the Rockefeller family, Oppenheimer family, the DuPonts, the Gettys. Okay, to name a few. Right? He says, and he shall judge among the nations, and shall rebuke many people, because we're going to be putting everyone in line. And they shall beat their swords into plowshares, meaning their weapons into what? Farming tools, because we're going to be putting them to work to build up our kingdom. Alright? Then we don't need for no swords. We don't need for no tanks, no missiles. We're going to get rid of all that. And their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. So there's going to be no World War IV. Okay? It's just going to be, peace. Okay? They say, can there be peace in the Middle East? Well, there will be peace. Okay? There will be peace when the Lord comes back, man, and lays a smackdown on this place. Alright? So let's go from there to this one. Now, this is the main article I was checking out. Now I tried to play a bit of it, but the guys are speaking in Russian, so I'm hoping that this is roughly, it's they do good news, so I'm hoping that this is a correct translation. But what they're saying, that this foreign minister's saying, okay, he's an ambassador at the Russian foreign ministry. This is what he says, right? Now it's coming to light that real. Well, let's read the whole thing. Oleg Ozerov, ambassador at large of the Russian Foreign Ministry, claimed that despite the higher profitability of Western technology companies, their products are less important for people's livelihoods than tangible assets, while speaking during an interview on Thursday. And that's true, because you can't, as you can see here, you can't eat an iPhone. Right? And people are going to find out very soon. Okay, you got people, their lives are in social media, and they, everything's just at a click of a button. Well, that's going to change very soon. It says, now it is coming to light that real, tangible assets are much more important than those mountains of virtual papers that are being pumped into various companies that produce practically nothing but software. But you can't eat an iPhone. And the grain, see the main thing mentioned, and the grain produced by Russia, it is very edible and is in demand around the world. You can survive without an iPhone, but without bread, without water, without heating, without electricity, it becomes much harder to survive. And pretty much, it's funny that he's saying that. He's got that smug look on his face because, well, check this out. Russia pounds Ukrainian grain for fourth day. Ukraine is a big, breadbasket of grain in the world, right? You got a sea blockade that they're looking to do, right? And that's affecting grain reserves around the world, man. Okay, you got problems in India. You got problems around the world, and grain. Let's see the importance of grain. Let's just type in. Let's go and type in grain, right? A grain is a small, hard, dry fruit, with or without an attached hull layer, harvested for human or animal consumption. A grain crop is a grain-producing plant. The two main types of commercial grain crops are cereals and legumes. Alright? After being harvested, dry grains are more durable than other staple foods, such as starchy fruits, such as plantains and breadfruit, and tubers. This durability has made grains well suited to industrial agriculture. Let's get to the point. The grain market is a major global commodity market that includes crops such as maize, alright, that's your corn, rice. Everyone loves that rice, which is right. People love that white rice, man, which it ain't nothing but poison, right? Soybeans, the vegans are gonna get upset, man. Right? Wheat, that's your bread. Okay, that's your pizzas. How do you make your pizzas? You get your dough. So a lot of these people, are going to be in for a big shock, man. Okay, and remember the scriptures talk about famine. In fact, let's get an example of that. Let's go to 2nd Ezra 15. 2nd Ezra 15 verse 5. Behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death and destruction, for wickedness have exceedingly polluted the whole earth. So who's in rulership right now? Is it not the wicked? And their hurtful works are fulfilled. Alright, it is as it is written, Esau is the end of the world and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. Right? Let's get it. 2nd Ezra 6 and 9, just to it's in the scriptures, man. Alright, we don't just say things for no reason. I'm quoting scriptures, right? Meaning what? That Esau, the Edomites, are going to be in power at the end of the world, which we're at the latter days now. We're reading about the latter days in Isaiah 2. Okay, and the latter days transitions into what? And Jacob's the beginning of it that followeth our rulership, Israel's rulership on the earth, which is an everlasting rulership. Okay, because it's going to be what? Yahushai's kingdom, right? Now, let's go back to this. So this is what's going on, man. Right? Now, this is an example of attrition warfare, okay? Which basically, you go into it in a wiki, ain't going to be the whole thing. Basically, it's like wearing someone down of their resources, okay? That could be military personnel. You could be taken down bit by bit, okay? Rather than meeting on a massive battlefield, it could be, taking out troops here and there, taking out key intelligence points, taking out resources, the food that the army needs to eat, their resources, maybe their gas pipelines, and that's what's been going on in the world. Okay, let me just type that in Google, right? Let me type gas pipeline. Yeah, that's destroyed. Let me just type that in. 2002 Nord Stream pipeline sabotage. So what's really going on here, right? Now, when we read Isaiah the 13th chapter, this is about the prophecy about Babylon. Now, Isaiah 13 is talking about America. All right. How do we know that? Let's just get straight to the point, and I'm going to read some points in this chapter. This is Isaiah chapter 13, verse 20. Because you got some people that try and say it's talking about land over there in Iraq. So let's see. Babylon ancient map, right? So that was over there in what? In the Middle East, right? And you had Iraq, modern day Iraq, right? Babylon, modern day Iraq map, right? Now, is it talking about that? No. How do we prove that? Isaiah chapter 13, verse, start from, let's read it from 17, and we're going to get into it. Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it. And this is talking about Russia. Okay, when you look at the map, okay, you see the Medes, you're just talking about, this is representing Russia. Okay, it's ain't talking about the this is talking about the modern day equivalent, which Russia are going to be very important, prevalent in taking down America, right? How do we know that? Their bows also shall dash young men to pieces. What's the bows talking about? What comes out the bow? The arrow. Okay, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb. Their eyes shall not spare children. All right. So what's the arrow? The modern day arrow, and what's the bow? The bow represents the silos, and the arrows represent the missiles that come out of the silos. Okay. Let's get a quick precept. What's that? 2 Ezra 9, I believe, or is it? Might be. Bear with me. Might be 15 actually. That's one. That's not the one I want. Second Ezra 16. Right. So lucky for that. Second Ezra 16 verse 13. For strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow, his arrows that he shooteth are sharp, and shall not miss. Not one of these missiles are going to miss their target when they begin to be shot into the ends of the world. What arrow do you know? What archer do you know that can shoot an arrow from one end of the world to the other end of the world, man? So what's it talking about? Intercontinental ballistic missiles. Why are they called that? Because they're going from one continent to another continent, man. They're traversing the earth, coming out of the atmosphere and back into the atmosphere. Okay, you look into missiles, man. I ain't gonna go into it now in this lesson. All right, they're gonna be beginning to be shot to the ends of the world, man. They're beginning to shot over there to America. And different places are gonna get hit too, but America's gonna be that main stir fry, man. All right. Let's go back to Isaiah 13. So that's what we know it's talking about. It's talking about that World War 3, which is what this is all leading up to, man. All right, but the famine, things are gonna get very, very crazy out here. All right. And Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency, shall be as when Yahweh Shemiel shall overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. And what's the modern day Sodom? Okay, that great city. Let's get that in Revelation Revelation, bear with me, verse 11, verse 8. And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, talking about America, and the dead bodies talking about us, man that falls out the way of understanding shall remain in the congregation of the dead, because at one time we didn't know who we were and what was going on. Now we've got this truth. Those are our people that are still in that confused mentality. Alright? Shall remain in that dead state, man. Which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt. Alright, so what's that talking about? America. America's the one that legalizes same-sex marriage, that promotes LGBT. That's what LGBTQ and all that was promoted and come out from, man. Mainly. Alright, Egypt, all the tribes are over there, basically serving bondage. Okay? Including what we went through in chattel slavery. Alright? It's the modern day Egypt. They got why do you think why on the dollar bill, their currency, have they got a pyramid on there, man? Think about it. Let's go back to Isaiah 13 and 20. Now this is the point. This is how you know it's talking about America. It shall never be inhabited. Now, is the land over there in Iraq today inhabited? Yes, it is. Okay? Neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation. It ain't going to be America. See, when America gets nuked, no one's going to live there, ever. That's just going to be a monument to why you don't mess with the Lord, man. Pretty much. Neither shall the Arabian pitch tent there, neither shall the shepherds make their fold. There ain't going to be no businessmen there. Nothing going to be happening there, man. It's just going to be just desert dwelling creatures and birds and all that over there. Okay, it's going to be a desert land. Alright? The forbidden zone. Like the Planet of the Apes. Alright? So, the war of attrition is what's coming on upon the people, man. And we read about the famine. Okay? So basically, a time... Well, a time of... let's read Daniel's 12 and 1. This is the time that's coming. Daniel's 12 and 1. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince which standeth for the children of thy people, and there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book, because the elect are going to be delivered from this coming destruction, and also from the coming famine and all of that, man. How do we know that? Let me prove it to you, right? Let's see what the Lord says regarding his servants, the ones that serve him. Isaiah chapter 60... Am I 65? Yeah, 65 verse 13. Therefore, thus saith the Lord Yahweh Shemel Shai, behold, my servants shall eat, but ye shall be hungry. Let's start from 12. Therefore will I number you to the sword, and ye shall all bow down to the slaughter. Because when I called, ye did not answer, because there's a calling made to Israel. When I spake, ye did not hear. Our people fan their hands at us, mock the prophets, but did evil before mine eyes, continue in their sin, and did choose that wherein I delighted not, wickedness. Therefore thus saith the Lord power, behold, my servants shall eat. So our people are going to be through, man, and the different people in the world too. But hey, I'm talking about our people here. My servants shall eat, but ye shall be hungry. Behold, my servants shall drink, but ye shall be thirsty. Behold, my servants shall rejoice, but ye shall be ashamed. See, the people on this planet, man, they could come in for a rude awakening. Okay? Whereas we're ready. We're waiting for a return of our Lord. We that understand that the secrets of the Most High, the prophecies, the understanding of the scriptures, the knowledge, wisdom, understanding, that it's preparing us for that evil day. Alright? And ultimately, we're going to be saved out of it. We're talking about what? The elect. We are the hopeful elect. And that's what we have faith in. And we have faith in that hopefully the Lord's going to deliver us. That's what we hope for. Right? This is Jeremiah chapter 30 verse 7. Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even a time of Jacob's trouble. But he, talking about the elect out of the nation of Israel, but he shall be saved out of it. Because really, even though our people are Israel, and that's what we teach them, as long as they're in that heathenistic state of mind, they're basically heathens, man. That's why when someone falls out of the truth, Matthew the 18th chapter tells you how to deal with that. It says they've got to be cast out like a heathen. All right. So, I believe I hit the point, man. And, to show you that Russia, isn't prophecy, I could have gone into Ezekiel 38 as well, but I'm just going to gone into a couple points. I'll leave it there. But, one thing, man, is, if I go into Psalms 2 quickly, actually, right, these heathen, man, they really think, this war, America, Russia, all of that, as it is written, when he's about to fill his belly, the Lord's going to, rain upon him while he's eating. That's in Joel 20. So just as this man thinks he's going to be able to set up his new world order, right, the Lord's going to basically end his parade, man. This is Psalms 2 and 1. Why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? And that's what are they imagining? These different nations coming together with Esau. Okay, the enemies. Soon Psalms 83, what are they doing? They're trying to set up their new world order, man, starting with the elites. The kings of the earth, set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together, saying against the Lord and against his anointed, saying, let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cords from us. He that sitteth in the heavens shall laugh, the Lord shall have them in derision. Right? And what's gonna be the future of these heathen? Right? Who are not gonna, China's not gonna be the next ruler, Russia ain't gonna be the next ruler. Okay, America certainly America's gonna be a part of it's gonna look like, after you've just done like them ancient sacrifices, man. You get the wood and you put the stone around, and you basically you get the animal, you sacrifice the animal, drain out the blood and all that, and you're cooking it. Alright? That place is gonna get cooked, man. Okay? And the people inside it are gonna be the sacrifice. Psalms 2 and 8 says, ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thine inheritance, and the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession. And that's talking to Yahushua, and by, and through Yahushua onto his elect on down, right? So we're gonna have control of the earth, man, all its resources, and that includes the heathen as our slaves. Thou shalt break them with a rod of iron. Thou shalt dash them in pieces like a potter's vessel. So we're gonna really lay the smack down on them, man. Really, it's gonna be harsh. Alright? So hey, Lord willing, this was an edifying lesson, man, in the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashmi Shai Basham Kakadash. I'll leave it there. With that, man, I'm gonna say shalom. Shalom to the next one.